Georgia, with the greatest number of large plantations of any state in the South, had in many respects epitomized plantation culture. In the 1920s, the state continued to depend on cotton production. From 1880 to 1930, as many as 550 people were killed by lynchings in the state. Lynchings weren't just hangings. People, the vast majority of whom were black, were also shot, beaten, stabbed, drowned, tortured, and burned alive. Georgia was also the birthplace of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who at age 35 was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. The prize motivation for his nonviolent struggle for civil rights. Nonviolence means avoiding not only external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. You not only refuse to shoot a man, but you refuse to hate a man. Martin Luther King, Jr. The Great Migration grew out of the unmet promises made after the Civil War, and the sheer weight of it helped push the country toward the civil rights revolutions of the 1960s. George Arthur Daniels was born on November 8, 1900, Forsyth County, Georgia, William and Elizabeth Lizzie Daniels. As a small child, George's family moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Was forced to size the entire black population. Racial tension was forcibly removed in 1912. Several years after arriving in Atlanta, George's parents were divorced, and his biological father, William Daniels, remarried and fathered 3 children in this union. Those children were Gertis, Laura, and William Jr. George's mother remarried to Alfred Owens, and they had 1 child together, John L. Owens. In 1918, at the age of 17, George, his mother, and stepfather moved to Sioux City, Iowa, along with his step-siblings Hollis, Elder, a sister Frances Owens Wood, and John L. His mother and stepfather, affectionately known as Big Mama and Big Papa, purchased a huge home in the South Bottom side of town. Their home was located at 314 South Iowa Street and began selling ribs and bootlegging for their livelihood. Upon turning 18 on November 8, 1918, George began to work at Armour's packing plant just 3 days before the end of World War I on November 11, 1918. George's brother Jack joined the family 3 years later in 1921. He did not initially accompany the family because his father would not allow him to leave Georgia. The daughters of George and Ethel Daniels were very close. Even though their brothers got most of the public recognition through athletics, make no mistake about it, the backbone of the Daniels family, it was the women. The sisters, Viola, Catherine, Dorothea, Alice, and Gladys, all got the same advice that George gave the boys. However, they also all saw the quiet strength of Ethel Daniels through the years. Mrs. Daniels, the former Ethel Johnson, was born on December 11, 1906, in Manila, Alabama. Ethel and her sister Irma came to Sioux City also in 1918. George and Ethel met in Sioux City the same year, and they were married on June 4, 1922, in Sioux City.